Okay, back in the garage. Big 450 in the background. That's what we're working on today. Still having a problem with the bogging and the backfiring. New spark plug, cleaning injectors, putting the OEM exhaust back on, and whatever else I done did to it didn't work. So something else somebody suggested is the TPS sensor. If the voltage is off, it could cause some backfiring and bogging issues and rough starting, rough idle, kind of what I'm having right now. Not having trouble starting it, but the idle sometimes is a little rough, backfiring of course, and the bogging. So did my research, talked to Matt Wolf over at tpstool.com. When it got one of these little pigtails, basically hooks up to the TPS sensor. You hook it up to your voltmeter and you're able to adjust the voltage and check the voltage and see what it is on the TPS sensor. So you're about to check that out, see if the voltage is good. We're supposed to be around 0.6 voltage at idle. We're gonna see if that's any good, and if not, we're gonna adjust it. So we're gonna see how to do that. Okay, so it's somewhat hard to see. That little gray sensor right there is the TPS sensor connector. The TPS sensor is actually on the other side, we're gonna see in a minute, but that's the connector that we gotta get to hook up the pigtail, to hook up to the voltmeter. So what I'm gonna do is take these engine brackets off so we can get better access to it to plug in the pigtail. So let's do that. So took those two bolts out and then loosened this one up and moved it over out the way and just tightened it back up a little bit so it can hold. So now I'll be able to get to that connector in there, and what I'm gonna have to do is plug one end of the pigtail into the connector and the other end is going to go into the bike. I'm going to have to start up the bike, and while it's idling, check the voltmeter. One good suggestion that Matt Wolf over at TPS Tool told me to do, since it's a kickstart bike and you have to let it idle. The other push start bikes, you can just press the start button, it'll work like that, but this one the bike has to be on. So he told me to use some fans. So I got two fans, one right there and one right there. I'm gonna put one on each side of the bike so the bike doesn't overheat and, you know, cause any damage or anything like that. So it might get a little loud with the fans, but that's what we gotta do. Let's go on the other side and look at the TPS sensor right quick. What we're gonna have to be, you know, adjusting if need be. But before I even touch it at all or loosen it up, I'm gonna check the voltage and see if it's in spec. 0.6 volts. You can't really see it. The only part you can see of the TPS sensor is this part right here. You can only really see the bottom of it. That's this right here, which I was pointing to the connector that loops under the throttle body, but this is the throttle position sensor. And what I'm gonna have to do to get better access to it is take these engine mounts off on this side too. But first, before I do that, I'm gonna just check the voltage first. And if it's out of spec, we're gonna have to do that, and if not, I'm gonna just leave it be. So hopefully it is somewhat out of spec, and then I can adjust it, and then it'll fix my problem. So about to find out, ain't we? We got the pigtail on there, and now we're gonna hook up the voltmeter. What you wanna do, you see there's a red, a green, and a black. From the voltmeter, we're just going red to red, black to black. There we go, black to black, red to red. Turn our voltmeter to DC, the lowest one, which is 20. When you get the original voltage, you want to write this down and take a note of it so you know where you're at. 0.55, which is a little low. We want it on 0.6, so we are going to have to adjust it a little bit. So there's the TPS sensor, and unfortunately, if you can see, that bolt is a Torx bit. That little bolt on the right side of it right there, not only is it hard as hell to get to, but it's a Torx bit. Okay, so I had to go to the store and get a new Torx bit. The one that fit this is a T25. All I had was a T20, but you need to go up to a T25. I had to move the subframe up to even get to the TPS sensor screw right there to make sure it fits. So loosen this up and adjust it a little bit and see how that goes, and then start the bike up. So I adjusted it a little bit, tighten it back up, hand tighten, and then we're going to... We'll need to move the throttle body back up into the intake boot there, but I did adjust the TPS sensor a little bit. As you can see here, it is some space at the bottom because I did move it down a little bit. We're going to have to check the voltage and see if it's up to spec. So now it's reading 0.49, so it went down. So that means we need to move it the opposite way. So let's go ahead and do that. All right. So instead of moving it down this time, I moved it up. Down, the voltage goes down. Up, the voltage goes up. That makes sense. I don't know why I didn't think of that the first time. You live and you learn, you know. 0.7 went up a little too far. Just got a hand tighten right now, that's why I'm able to. Move it down just a smidge. 0.59. I think that's about as close as we gonna get to 0.60. We were at 0.55 before. Yeah, I like that. I think we're gonna stay at that. I'm not sure if it's better to be lower or higher. Not sure, but if not, we're gonna go ride it today. You know, test ride it, do some wheelies, see if we still got some bogging and backfiring. If not, I'm gonna try to go up to like 0.60 or more. So. But we're gonna test this out and see how it goes.